Diving into a band once again from the Midwest in the United States, but a band that has toured endlessly, has released a ton of music, and probably is one of the most relatable bands for a lot of people in all time, in my humble opinion. You're listening to P is for Punk, and today I is for In Desolation. In Desolation by Off With Their Heads. Formed in Minneapolis in like the early 2000s, Ryan Young created this band, and it's kind of like been a little bit of a rotation when it comes to band members that perform. I've been grateful enough and lucky enough to see Off Their Heads a good amount of times, and I got to say the kind of the build into this album. So prior to this album in Desolation, there was an album called From the Bottom. They had a bunch of EPs. They had a bunch of 7 inches splits that they've done with people as well. They had an album called From the Bottom. And that's what I was a little bit familiar with prior to ever seeing them and kind of exploring what they had in their library. I went to go to a Dropkick Murphy show in Chicago at a place called the Congress Theater, where Against Me was opening and Off of Their Heads was opening. Some other band was opening too. I don't remember what they were. But the first time I ever saw Off of Their Heads, it was amazing. And they played the song that we're going to get into in just a little bit, called Drive. And when I heard it, I was like, this is amazing. I have to go and dive into this a little bit more. Like I said, I kind of knew like what they were about a little bit. They're known for being pretty brutally honest. Ryan writes very honest songs about how he's feeling about life situations, mental states, go experiencing death with people, um, problems with situations with parents, a lot of stuff that people can relate to, which is important, especially in this kind of DIY kind of culture. Now, some like the internet puts them in this genre called org core, and I've heard about it a little bit. It's essentially like melodic punk. I don't know why you just can't call it melodic punk, but org core. It sounds very Shrekky in my opinion. So I was familiar with what they had. Like I liked a lot of the stuff off the album From the Bottom, but really after hearing Drive, I was like, dude, I gotta check this out. I got in my car, drove back to Wisconsin from Chicago, hit up some record stores. I went to a record store that's no longer around anymore, unfortunately, called the Exclusive Company. I went to two different ones. I went to one in West Bend, Wisconsin, and I said, yo, I'm looking for a band called Off Their Heads. I'm looking for this album In Desolation. And it's a punk album. And he's like, are you sure it's not metal? I'm like, yeah, it's not metal. I'm going through the punk and I can't find it. And he's like, I would really look in the metal section. I'm like, dude, it's not metal. And it wasn't in their metal section anyways. Then I go to the Exclusive Company in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And I was like, hey, looking for this album In Desolation by Off With Their Heads. And oddly enough, the album was in the metal section. So whatever. I don't know why. I don't know how, but I got it. I listened to it and I fell in love with it. And it really resonates with me today. Back when I first started listening to it, it really resonated with me then, because I was going through some weird stuff in my life, kind of experiencing a lot of different, heartbreak, low confidence, kind of like self reflection and self loathing almost. And it's, again, it's a lot of things that people do go through. So, June 8th, 2010, this album was released on Epitaph. I believe this is their first album with Epitaph. It was produced by the one and only Bill Stevenson, and Jason Livermore at the Blasting Rooms. So we're talking Descendants, all lineage. And it kind of like marked a little bit of a jump within the production quality, but it also maintained their kind of the rawness of it. It maintained their sound. It really did. It sounds clear and things like that, but it's still off with their heads. It still maintains the integrity of the band, which I do appreciate. They didn't lose anything by going to Epitaph. If anything, they probably gained something out of it. 12 songs, 33 minutes long. It opens with the song Drive. I love this song. I love the opening lines. Been watching myself turning from bad to worse. You know, um, it kind of goes into the ideas, I guess, about escapism to a degree, trying to run away a little bit from things, not really acknowledging the problem. I guess it could like drive into compulsion as well, perhaps. For me, it kind of reminded me of I guess you could say my tactic of dealing with stress. Um, you know, the I did see myself go from bad to worse more than once in my life. You know, a lot of people can say that too. Um, bad habits form from that sometimes, whether it's just like not taking care of yourself, eating poorly, um, staying up, drinking a little too much or whatever it may be, and seeking for solitude, even though you do need the comfort of people to help you with this stuff too. So it kind of covers that, in my opinion. It covers all of that. It's a fast song, it's a fun song, but it's also a little emotionally heavy. The part that really drew me in was the final, like, I don't know, like minute of the song where it just cuts out and goes, I'm out of my mind and I'm out of your sight. And then, so I just drive. It doesn't matter where. That really resonated with me. And because when I was younger and going through the stuff I was going through, that's what I did. When I was stressed out, when I was pissed off, I got out of this. I would leave, get in my car, and just go drive somewhere, drive around town, blast some music, find a distraction, go like maybe just get something to eat, take my mind off of it. And this song definitely connected with me on a deeper level, which is great. Second track on the album is Their Own Medicine, which is a song about kind of getting some redemption. People often are kicked when they're down for various reasons. Maybe you have a person like giving you grief all the time, endlessly, talking some mad trash. Maybe you have a family member that treats you poorly. Maybe, friends. It really could be anything. Um, I think there's some self awareness in this song, but ultimately, it's just like it's time to maybe like get a little bit even with some people. Give someone their own medicine. That doesn't necessarily mean like throwing punches. And I know in the song it says if you're looking for a reason, you got one in each hand. I'm not one that's like gonna throw a punch at anybody. I'm not gonna deck anyone in the face, but um, sometimes karma takes a little bit of time. It's a slow burn at times, but when it is served to somebody who has treated you poorly, it is nice. I've had people who have put me through some things and some situations that, granted, they kind of got a dose of their own medicine after a while. It had really had nothing to do with me, but when I heard about it, I was just like, oh, haha, take that. So Their Own Medicine, again, it's distorted. It's good. It's got they do have like really good melody and harmonies in these two. Like the backup vocals, which I believe Robbie was still in the band during this time. Like I said, they kind of go through different members, so I'm not sure exactly who recorded this album with Ryan at this time. But it's good. They always have good backing tracks, which is nice. You got to have that in punk rock. I know raw, edgy, all that kind of stuff, but you got to have something that sounds pleasing. And Ryan's got a real gritty and he's got a great voice. Like it's awesome, especially with what he's singing about. But you got the backups like lifting it up a little bit, kind of nice. So maybe a little bitterness in their own medicine, uh, throw in a little karma. We got a good song. Trying to Breathe is another one where, from my understanding of it, it could be a couple of different things. Um, you could interpret it as um, maybe like a drug overdose, maybe. I think because it talks about I think I'm having a heart attack. I've done too much of what I shouldn't have done. Um, I guess you could consider that taking drugs, but I don't think so. In my opinion, through my experience, sounds like a lot like an anxiety attack. When I've had them, a lot of people have had them. You overthink when you're in that anxious state of mind. Something little happens, you feel a little dizzy, and now you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna die. And then you dwell on that for a long time, and then your chest starts to hurt. And then you're trying to get in the deep breaths, hold it, let it out. Easier said than done, especially when you're kind of going through this stuff. Um, so like really like this is like a discussion on mental health, taking care of yourself in that regard, if you can, or maybe having a good support system. Um, but I mean, again, it could be again about drugs. I don't have clarification on that, unfortunately, but there's a couple of different ways you could interpret it because even like within part of the chorus, I hate every second, every goddamn day. Give me anything you got, I don't care. It's all the same. It could be anxiety medicine, it could be something else. I don't know. But I just focus on trying to breathe. I listen to this album like I do with all the albums that I've talked about while running. And I do breathing is important while running. So it was a nice reminder. Doing something healthy for my mental health. Running really is a kind of an escape for me. And it's a good way to clear some anxiety. So I guess it kind of goes hand in hand a little bit, and you focus on trying to breathe. You gotta breathe. It's important. This is a good song. I think maybe like if you are listening to Off of Their Heads for the first time, you maybe could start with this one. I would start with Drive, and then maybe jump to this one, perhaps as like a little bit of a gateway. The fourth song on this album, ZZYZX. I don't know if that's an acronym for something or what exactly that means. But kind of the overall idea of what I get is kind of like isolation in your the physical and emotional space a little bit. I think he talks about a lot in his music and in a handful of songs about kind of not wanting to be on the road, not wanting to do what he's doing, which I guess I could see that. I've never been on a tour of any means. Anytime I'm traveling, it's for something fun, it's for something enjoyable. But when you're doing this all the time and you have some of these anxieties and you have some of these struggles going on, probably not too easy going from place to place, trying to throw on a smile on your face and keep going. So yeah, this is a good one for that. The Eyes of Death, number 5. um you know I guess you could say this is about mortality, um because and I think a lot about my dad when I listen to this song. And again, like, music is all up to interpretation. I could be wrong in this, but he said, I've seen the eyes of death through a loved one dying, and once you've seen it, you've never the same, which is true. I have unfortunately seen this firsthand. I think about when my dad passed away. I saw him alive for the last time about 6 days before he died. Spent the day together. It was a lot of fun. It was good. I love my dad and I miss him very dearly. But I knew in that moment when I'm looking at him, like, dude, this is the end. It's coming soon. and we just have to get ready for that. And it's true. The next time I saw him, he passed away, and it was in his house, it was in his home, he was in his bedroom, and that's where I saw him. And it messes you up, dude. Like it's you really aren't the same. There's characteristics and everything that you can still kind of like project that you're the same person, but you look at things differently. You think about things differently. You approach things differently. Like now, like I watch Mufasa get killed in The Lion King, and I'm like, oh God, you know. Um, from my understanding, this is like kind of what I'm. This is kind of what I get from this. And in the course, like I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I've lost all hope. Inside, I'm shattered through and through. And when you're all alone at night, do you fall asleep and all this kind of stuff? But yeah, that's kind of my feeling with it. Again, rawness, real situations, and we've kind of seen this a little bit in some of the albums and EPs that we've discussed a little bit, but never as consistent as throughout this record. So it's yeah, it's good, it's fun, I guess, but it's almost like cathartic. It's nice to have an understanding that, hey, I've gone through this, I've gone through that, have these experiences that maybe not a lot of people in your inner circle, or maybe a lot of people that have had these experiences, but someone out there has, and they're putting it in songs, and it's probably cathartic. It was probably more cathartic for him writing this stuff, and acknowledging this stuff. But in doing that, he's created a way for other people to understand, hey, I'm not alone in this battle. I'm not alone in this journey. I'm not alone in this situation. And hopefully we can come out on the right side of this, on the upswing, which is good. Old Man coming in at number 6. I think again, this is a story. This is a song related to his dad. I think they had a troubling relationship, but he holds some qualities or maybe some characteristics of his dad that he sees within himself. Could be like the idea of like he's getting older. The problems are still there though. Like as you get older, maybe some things do stay the same until you acknowledge this stuff. Again, like I think about my parents with this song too. Just more like I had loving parents. My parents love me very much and I love them. They weren't always around though. Like they worked a lot. They didn't come to a lot of my stuff growing up, which is just it's just part of it, I guess. So it's kind of what I think about. It's okay to love your parents and still have some questions about like, hey, where were you when this was happening? Why was I doing this alone? And I had a lot of like questions like that with my dad that I never asked. And I still hold to, some sort of I don't know if it's bitterness, I don't know if it's a grudge or anger, I don't know what it is, but same thing. Like I have a lot of characteristics that my dad had, good and bad. I think a lot of my anxieties come from my dad, also come from my mom, but I think more so my dad, honestly. So again, we can relate to this. You probably can as well. Number 7, All I Can Do to Keep from Being Awake. It's just like getting to that point where you are just drained. Again, the guitars and in the sound overall, the musicianship is all very consistent across this. Like it's all very fast. It's, you got the distortion, the the like the grits a little bit. Um and it's all like, but very heavy lyrics, very stuff. It's almost like when you're thinking about All I Can Do, just kind of like, dude, I got nothing. I got nothing left in the chamber. The gas tank is on E. It's been on E for the last 100 miles, and I am just spent. Um, and, you just got to be like, I'm, I'm need to take a break, do all I can do to keep from being awake. Um, whether that's passing out or accepting what's going on, I don't know. Again, that's the interpretation that I get from it, and it's something that I have felt, and even not so long ago. A lot of things were going wrong, and I was like, "Oh God, like when is this going to stop?" I have draining jobs, which I love each and every one of my jobs. I got a lot of them, but at the same time, they're all demanding in their own regard. They're all stressful in their own regard. And then when you're piling it all up with life situations, with things that are going maybe not your way or whatever, and you're just like, dude, I'm trying my best, but I'm still coming up short. I just need to go and pass out, and not think for a while. So I don't think this is an unusual feeling for a lot of people. Number 8 is called I Need You. A song maybe that kind of delves in the world of codependency. Maybe it's rather than love. Are you with somebody because they've always been there? Maybe you've had that relationship with them for quite some time. Um, I don't know. I think that happens sometimes as well. You can be in love with somebody, then after a while, you're not. That does happen. So yeah, I don't. Or it could be like, hey, I need you. I need you in my life because I love you and I care about you and all that kind of stuff. But I think this is more codependency in this case, rather than working on it with yourself. You got somebody with you, and like, I don't know, codependency, I guess it could be healthy in a lot of ways. Like my wife keeps me in line for a lot of things, keeps me dependable, keeps me accountable. I do the same for her as well. So there's like a little codependency there, but it's a healthy one. I guess some people would just call that marriage, but I've seen unhealthy, very unhealthy codependency. And it's like, you need this person for what reason? Because you aren't going to acknowledge what you're doing. You're not going to find the help that you need. I don't know. That's kind of what I get here. Yeah, I could be wrong. Sorry if I am. Number 9 is Spare Time, which I actually really like this song. It's a fun song. It's a little more upbeat, but it's also again about like your brain. Your brain is a crazy tool. Like so much goes on in that noggin of yours, especially when you deal with anxiety or you stress about things, you worry a lot. Um, how do you spend your spare time? What do you do to pass the day? Do you focus on the bad times? And you have some downtimes in those moments, and then you're like, oh, now I have to look at all my problems firsthand and think about it. And now this is a song I can really relate to. I do focus on bad times. I do stress a lot, which isn't good. I keep myself busy for sure. And while I keep myself busy, it's more of a distraction. But I do dwell, which isn't good. It's not a healthy way of doing things. But Yeah, it's uh it's relatable, I think. Does it take a prescription to keep that smile on your face is a line that really sticks out to me in this song and particularly on this album. For a lot of us, yes, it does. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in acknowledging, hey, I need something to help me. I need something just so I can function in life and not think about situations that haven't even happened. Not even like create these scenarios in my brain and do all this. And if I feel something in my body, not like go, oh God, this is the big one. It's happening. So spare time, kind of like this idle mind equals uh-oh, a spiral downward. When you stop moving, your brain gets loud, and it sure does. So we got to figure out a way to manage that sometimes. Uh, Number 10, I just want you to know. This is, I think, a little bit about communicating with people. Just want you to know that I think about you all the time. You're always on my mind. And I think it's like, you're wanting to talk about some of the things going on in your life, maybe some things going on in your mind, but you're afraid that it's going to turn into something bad. Maybe it's going to lead to somebody thinking differently about you. Maybe it's going to lead to some sort of fallout, whether that's with a family member, whether that's with a loved one or a friend. People do struggle with stuff, and some people don't understand that. Some people don't have the same struggles, and that's great if they don't. That's not their fault if they don't. But sometimes people will listen to your honesty about how you feel about yourself or how you feel about a situation, and they'll kind of be like, nah, man, like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I think, maybe they take it more accusatory. Maybe they take it as like, bro, you're crazy. And it turns into something bad. And there is a fear within that. You know people that you care about pretty well, hopefully. How are they going to respond to this? Is it going to lead to something that's going to be bad? So, but you know, it's important to be honest. It's important to tell people how you feel. And hopefully within that, people will accept the honesty and it doesn't turn into a big old collapse. Number 11, we slow it down a little bit. This is the first time on the album where it kind of gets a little slower. My episodes kind of like, I don't know where I want to be. I don't want to be anywhere, but I have to be somewhere. I have to do what I'm doing to continue going. And within this, I have anxiety episodes. Maybe I have depression episodes, like durations of time where I'm just not there, not doing this. It's like again, mental health. It's a big thing in this album. It's kind of normalizing it, especially in like these scenes. Like, I don't want the road, or I don't want to be high, but that's the way I've been living life. Like, I think a lot of people feel that way. Maybe not necessarily with being high, but maybe it's like, I don't want to be home. I don't want to be alone, and I don't want to be drunk, or I don't want to be this, but I am. And I continue to do these things that put me in these states. And and it creates these episodes, puts me in these episodes of whatever mental health situation that you're going through. It's slow, it's guitar, it's simple strumming, and it's just Ryan singing on it. Towards the end of the song, you get some piano in the background as well. But that's all it is. And it's, it lays it all out there. It's being honest. And it's like doing it with not a lot of background noise, just a guitar, a voice, and a little soft piano. And I think it's very effective that way, which is crazy. It took 11 songs to get to that point, which is all right. All the other songs are good to that point, but they're the same, like kind of like distortion. A lot of times, you have that grit within Ryan's voice, and this one, it's more singing, and it's It's pretty honest, and he's just happy that your arms are around him, which I think anyone in a state like that, and coming off a song like "I Just Want You to Know," which could be, or "I Need You" as well. It talks about that. Like, you have an important person in your life, and when you're spiraling and when you're going through things, somebody wrapping their arms around you. Hey, whew, I feel good in this moment. I'm thankful for this moment. And yeah, but My Episodes is a good song. I saw them once play that only one time as like a warm up song. It was at Riot Fest. And the first year that Riot Fest turned into an outdoor festival in Chicago at Humboldt Park. They played, and like during the sound check, Ryan did it, and it was actually pretty cool. And I don't think I've seen him play it since. So I got it once, which was nice. This next song, I can guarantee you're probably gonna get at the end of every single Off with Their Heads performance. This is one of their most famous songs, and it starts off with just the strumming of a guitar, still a little more distortion, and Ryan singing. The song is called "Clear the Air," kind of about the need to explain yourself and the need to say this is what's going on. Um, I obsess about things. I stress about things. I get angry about things, and you witness this. You live it. You go through it, and it's not your fault, and you don't deserve to get treatment like this. I think that's kind of what it is, and eventually, like, you let it build and build and build, and then you got to just let it out. You got to get it off your chest in order just to feel good. I'll choke to death if I don't clear the air. Again, very, very honest in this song. He has a line too in there. It says, like, it's the mask that I put on to hide what's inside, and I don't take it off until you fall asleep. I don't want you to see what is inside of me. And that line really resonates again with me. Like, and a lot of times with people in general, you hear these tragic stories about things that happen with people, and you wonder why. You're like, I never knew they were sad. I never knew they had the stuff going on in their mind. Like, they put on a front. People who are depressed and anxious, and they don't want other people to know necessarily. Like, they'll be honest with people about it, which is good. You should be. But a lot of times you just don't like want everyone to know around you. You put on a front a little bit to be like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'll be all right. That's my go-to response. I'm fine. I'm good. And I am good. I am fine. This is, I've lived a life of depression, of anxiety, and we're feeling good. We're on the upswing here, which is nice. I'm in a good situation in life. I have a wonderful wife. I have a beautiful family. I'm very, very lucky in a lot of regards, but I still have a lot of inner turmoil within myself. Um, no problems with anybody else. It's all within me. And my idea of who I am as a person, what I am worth as a person. And I think this is kind of reflective in this song as well. Like, I got a lot of stuff going on in my mind, and like, I feel like a failure sometimes. I feel like, even though I look around and I go, look at all the things I accomplished, like, it's still not enough. It's like, what else do I need to do? And that goes back to probably some childhood experiences of not feeling good, of being told that I could do better all the time, and being told that the stuff I do hasn't been good enough. It's good, but it could be better. Yeah, I think that could lead to that. Um, but that's me. That's what I have to work with, and to go with it. And it's not other people don't deserve to be treated poorly as a result. You know what I mean? So I think this song has it, but of course it picks up, and then you get the big kind of like bridge at it, and then you get the gritty voice again of God damn it, I'm falling apart. It really shows the emotional depth of the band, how they portray it in music, and it's a great way to end the album. It doesn't give any answers. It doesn't give you any resolutions on how you can do that. It's just saying, if I don't clear the air, if I don't get this out, well then, it's not going to be good. And that's all it is. So it ends kind of the same way it begins, confronting um depression, confronting anxiety, real life stuff all across this album, which is why it is a very important album. It's honest, it's brutal, it's melodic, um it's good, it's real, which is good. And there's plenty of other bands too they sing about funny stuff and they joke around, which is good and important as well. But this one is like, if you've gone through some stuff in your life, this is an album that you want to lean on. And this is an album just to say, hey, other people experience this. We've gone through it. It exists. So confronting it is, I think, part of the battle. Whether you're confronting it by, talking to somebody about it, talking to a professional, telling people how you feel, getting medicine, acknowledging it, forming good habits. This album is important. And it's a good statement in mental health as well. I absolutely love this album. Off with Their Heads. Then I think since they did tour a lot, they released Home after this, which is another really amazing album that I love a lot too. I almost covered that one for the episode. After that, they did Be Good. They've done some acoustic albums, like acoustic takes of songs from previous albums, which is cool. They haven't really released a ton of new music from my awareness in a little bit of time. They have Claim and Collected, which was like kind of like some covers that they did back in 2022. Character was the acoustic album. So Be Good, I think, is their last kind of studio album from 2019. I saw them last year play in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, which was pretty awesome. There as a 3-piece. It was good. It was fun. It was like very DIY, and it was good to see them again. It had been a while, and I love them. They're a good band, and if you really should explore their catalog, you could definitely start with In Desolation, and either go back or start from the beginning, however you want to do it. But you got to listen to it. All right. Hey, it's okay to not be okay. This album shows that. This album is important for so many reasons, which is why we're doing an episode of it. Appreciate you all for hopping on, listening, and giving me a chance to talk about the music that I love. Follow me on Instagram at P is for Punk. You can hit up some me on social medias, I guess, if you want. My radio personal Instagram at DJDadBod_WY. You can follow me on that. And you can, of course, listen to me in the Fox Valley in Wisconsin on 96.1 The Rock, where we play rock and roll music. It's good. It's fun. I love it. And I love doing the show. In Desolation, chef's kiss, as they say. Toodaloo.